Hello friends, and welcome back to the Up North house. You can see John in the distance. He's shoveling the last bits of our free wood chips. We've been using them for garden paths and woodland paths and all the things. We've got our chairs out here, very exciting. We've actually made a little patio area with those chips. It's going well. Some of you have been asking about the timing of the videos, so I wanted to address that. Today, we are in the first week of June. So all of the videos you've seen up to this point have been between the second week of April 2025 and now the first week of June. So we've got a lot going on. We've got more to come. We're excited. We're loving it. The garden is doing great. You guys last saw us finishing off our garden beds. I'm loving them. I planted more things. Our last frost date was actually June the 1st. So I've put seeds in. Some of our early crops are coming up, and I'll give you more of a tour once we have more to tour, but it is looking exciting for me. I can see lots of things beginning to sprout, but it's going to look like, dirt on video, so I won't bore you with that. Today, I'm going to be starting to work on some of the furniture for the kitchen. So I have, as you saw in the last video, been gathering bits of furniture at sales and local places, and I have come up with a kitchen hutch, which is back here. This is the top of it, and this is the bottom of it, and they, stack up. So we got some changes to make on this. And I also have this dresser. Dresser is the first thing on the docket for today, and this dresser cost me $10, which I'm amazed by. The back needs to be replaced, but that's okay because we have lots of that cabinetry beadboard that we're going to be able to match and put on the back of that. So it'll look like it is, going along with the kitchen. And the wood, this is a veneer here, and the front drawers are not veneer, and I actually like the wood on them, but I'm not sure about the finish yet. So I'm going to take it down to wood on everything and see what it looks like. I know there's lots of patches to be made in the veneer parts, so we'll see what happens. I'd like to match this piece to that piece back there so that they look like they sort of go together in the kitchen, because if you remember, we have tons and tons of different wood tones already in there, so the furniture probably doesn't need more wood tones. And the first thing I'll be doing is taking off our door pulls, or drawer pulls, I should say. My neighbor Scott, who does furniture, loves these, and so I think I'm gonna give them over to him, donate to the cause. I can't use them. I just can't. They look strange to me, so I just can't use them. So anyway, those will come off. We're actually going to use the pulls from some of those damaged drawers that we had in the original cabinetry to make them kind of meld with our kitchen space a little more. So I'll be working on that. Later, I'll probably be working on that other hutch as well. And we'll see wherever the video takes us later on as we keep on going through the day. Okay, I'm back. The weather has turned. It's now rainy, so excuse the now amplified traffic noise as it passes. I got all the pulls off except for one. This one, I had to put some WD-40 on it because it has square nuts on there and it's stuck. So hopefully I can get that to unseat. I think it's rusted on. So I'm gonna let that go a little bit longer and try that. I did notice when I took them off that these drawers are filled with wooden dowels, the pull area. So they've the pulls and things have been changed previously. So that's good for me to know. I also use painter's tape to label the drawers to the corresponding slot, just so I don't lose my place. Some of the drawers are similar size, but they were opening and closing pretty well, and I don't want to mix anything up. So I just labeled them to make sure, and that is that. So I'm going to work on this pole, and then these little beauties are going to go across the street to Scott, and he can do something really awesome with them. And then back here you can see a little bit better view of the cracked and split tongue and groove that somebody put on there at another time. So I'm going to be taking that off in a few, and then we'll have everything clear and clean the way we need it to proceed. Alrighty, here is sanded down to 120 grit. Still have a little bit more to go, but you can see now all the life this dresser has had, which is cool. I think it's cedar. I'm not sure. What do you guys think about that? It's like you've got the white edges on there. It's a single plank. It's a big board. Beautiful. It's had a lot of life, this one. So I'm going to keep sanding on this. You'll see me next sanding on drawer faces first, and then the fronts of this, and the sides as well. So that's my next step. I'll show you what that looks like, and then we will go from there. Alrighty, I have completed my sanding task. Everything, I think I stopped at 120 instead, because I did decide to paint instead of stain. So we're going to stop with that. I sanded the tops of the drawers and the fronts. I'm going to do something different with the interiors. I'm ready to wood fill now. This is part of the reason I decided to paint. There's quite a bit of little damages on the wood, pretty deep ones. So I'm going to be working on that with the wood fill. And while I'm doing that, John has arrived and is working on this stuff back here. This is our hutch I showed you in an earlier part of the video. He has already removed this molding. It's like a market, it looks like a little market tent to me. It's kind of cute, but it's not the look I'm going for. I think mainly I just don't like how far away it was from the cabinet. So I'm going to simplify it a little bit so it doesn't look quite as top heavy, because this is going to be right in front of when you walk in the kitchen door, you're going to see this. So I want it to be a little bit more streamlined. So we're going to do that. He has taken this off. He's going to use the table saw to change the shape of this just a little bit, simplify it a little bit more, and then we'll reapply it after he cuts off the overhang of the cabinet. So he's going to make the overhang, there's going to be no overhang, it's going to be flush. And he's also removing a light. Somebody had used it as a curio cabinet, so he's removing that. There's also a mirror in there, which I don't want to have in there necessarily, but we think we might just have to cover it instead of removing it. John doesn't want to break it, right, John? Because it's bad luck. Right. So we can't do that. So he's going to be working on that. I'll show you what that looks like, and I'll catch you back in a moment. Almost ready to start cutting. John has taped line, painter's tape to the rescue again. He measured the distance from here to here and marked it all along, and then put the tape along there so that he could cut along the side of it. and get it on there. And he's gonna set the blade depth to this thickness, just beyond. So here we go for cutting. All right, this is the new trim, simplified. You just saw it cut down. We left the 45-degree angles. We will have to recut one of the 45-degree angles on the front piece because it's longer, obviously, since we, trimmed the dimension down. But this is what it's gonna look like. So you can put that there. Left the original nails in so we can just pop them back in there. We have to trim off this back part here, but it's gonna be a little simpler. And you can see we sanded a little bit lower so that when I go to take off this finish for painting, I won't have a funny edge to work up to right there. So we're gonna do some trimming of the boards to their new dimensions and then get it all put back together so that I can take the finish off and make it match the other piece. Alrighty, so I have finished patching the places on the dresser / future kitchen island that I want to do before it's time for prime and paint. I've now started removing the finish on the hutch. I decided not to use any more of the citrus stripping agent so that we could preserve it for what John is working on. He's back here. He finished the putting the new molding on of the top of the hutch here. He also got the mirror out, so that's ready for me to remove finish. And he has started gathering these pieces, which you may recognize from our removal of the kitchen cabinets. These pieces are going to be used to make a kitchen cabinet between the two windows in the kitchen on the north wall. So I know we've talked about that before and you'll see where it goes later in the video, but this is more what we brought the the citrus stripper for, because if you can see, it has thick layers of that varnish and shellac. It also has what we discovered, some of the gooey stuff is kind of a nicotine or tobacco smoke on it as well, from decades and decades of having that as a fashionable thing. So we discovered that it is easier to put that citrus strip on here to just get that first gelatin kind of layer off and then sand down to restain. So we're going to work on that, or he's going to work on that back here while I continue in my sanding up here. So I'll show you what some of that looks like and we'll catch back up. I don't think you guys probably need to see me doing tons of sanding. We've seen a lot of that. It's a lot of the same. Doing furniture again and again is a lot of sanding. So I'll show you when it's more exciting, but this is what we're looking like and this is what we're doing at the moment. All right, so John just removed this little thing, which you guys may recognize from an earlier video. This, we believe, is a paper dispenser, maybe baker sheets or wax paper, and we're gonna try to refurbish it and mount it in the kitchen. And now he's working on cleaning out the heads of these screws, the little flat heads, so that he can take this door apart. We had 3 doors over here, and this door he's gonna take apart so that he can use the components for the side pieces for the shelf. And I'll show you, he's been sorting these tongue and groove pieces out and labeling them for the different parts of the cabinet that he's going to make. So he stood back here for a long time figuring out all the bits and pieces that he wants to use and how he wants to use them, and then he's got them organized here along the workbench. And now he is preparing those pieces by removing screws and nails and all of those little things. All right, next day, John used the gel paint remover, the citrus-based stuff, and then he scraped off everything down to this like rougher layer, and then some of it still continued overnight. We haven't washed it or anything yet. He's gonna work on that continual. We've gotten, I believe that helps us get most of that nicotine layer off, so it's way easier to sand at this stage, which is wonderful. I got all of my pieces sanded. This is Knotty Pine. The other dresser that's going to be our island is actually cedar, I believe, with lots of dark marks. So I'm using a primer. It's an oil-based primer and an oil-based paint for this project. And this was what was recommended from my local Sherwin-Williams, very helpful. And it is the white pigment shellac primer. And it's good to, supposedly, we're going to see if it's good to block the knot holes and the tannins and things from Knotty Pine. So we're going to try that. The other thing that we're working on, this piece of furniture has been repaired many times and broken, and there was a piece of this front that it's supposed to be like this, and on this side it's broken off. So it was broken off about here. So I used the chisel and made it more of a straight break right here. And then I've been sanding with a really rough 40 grit and an old block of wood in order to kind of make this surface remain very rough on the break, like this. You can see there was a little bit of a bump in there, and I was trying to take it more to a flat surface, but keep it rough so that we can bond a patch piece to it. And the patch piece, John ripped down, remember this little molding from the top, John ripped down this to the right width here, and then we can patch it in. We can cut it here and patch it in there, and then just flatten out this little curve, and it should match in there perfectly. So I'm going to be working on that. John is going to cut this. I'm going to be putting a little finish nail and trying to sand it and sculpt it to match this little bevel down here, and then we're going to glue it along here, and I'll show you what that looks like next. So here is our cut piece there, and there's, you can see that's that finished edge that was on there. So I'm going to scooch this in to give myself enough room to kind of sand that down to match. And then we measured it to go there. So next step is put some glue on it. This is actually Loctite construction glue. They didn't actually have just regular wood glue at our local store, so that's okay. Small town, right? So I'm just going to spread that out with some cardboard, put it on nice and thick. Put a little bit right here as well. So I got it on there. And then stick that on there. And what I'm going to do is scrape this back a little. Like that. Put it underneath like that. And then I'm going to take some tape and clamp it down with tape a little bit. I have some clamps as well, but I think I'd like to try that first. So that's in there. And now to start, I'm going to put a little nail in here going down. So I'm going to use the nail set to get me started. Just to try to give me some help. And I have some 1.5 inch finish nails. Very hard to find these. I guess it's a thing where people, whoops, now I'm knocking everything down. People mostly use the pneumatic nailers now. So finding a nail you can use by hand, I had a hard time finding this around town. So now it's set in there. The next one I want to do is to put a nail going this way, because we don't actually have any kind of fastener on hand that is shallow enough to put something underneath it and hold it from the back. So I'm gonna work on putting a nail this way from the bottom and setting it in. And to do that, I'm gonna try to pre-drill with a teeny tiny drill bit. So let me get that so that I can hold that into place. Okay, got my drill. This is the tiniest bit that I have here. I think I'm gonna try to put it in, see how long my nail is. There. So I think I'm gonna go this way, because I have to take off some of this curve. Get it flat. Okay. I'm going to try to set this one pretty far in because I want to sand some of this off once it's set up pretty well. So let's see how far I can get it set in there. Alrighty, so now I'm gonna put a clamp on this and let it really set up with the glue and the nails, and then I'll come back in here and sand everything off when it's ready. All right, now I'm on the other side. While that is setting up over there, I'm going to trace this side with a scrap piece of cardboard so that I can get the exact shape that I need to create on the other side. So I put this on, this is a shiny piece of cardboard from a package, so I'm gonna use the dull side and just hopefully I can trace the edge of this with the upside down pen. They used to sell these astronaut pens back in the day where you could write upside down. Hey, that did it. It's enough for me to cut. So now I can grab my scissors and then just cut that out. Like that. And so now I have the right shape that I need. And you see what I did? I put this on the edge over there, so I also need to trim off the edge at the right distance, like that. So now I can then flip this over on the other side, trace the same shape, and then sand to my line on the board. So I'll show you what that looks like next. Right, I have traced this. It's now set. I have also put my first coat of primer and patched all the holes that I need to patch, and I've placed my little template that I made in line with the edge over here and traced the line with my little pen. Let me get a little darker right here so that I have that to go by. Now I have a line so that when I sand, I'll know kind of where to stop. I'm starting with 80 grit on my sander, and I'll just see if I can stop at the line. basically in the right shape. Still see some of my line. So I'm gonna come in here with 120 and my little block, which is this. And I also have a little file that I can go in there and kind of get that shape a little more specific. And that deeper curve. And you can't hardly see it on here, but it actually bevels back just a little bit on the regular part. So I'm going to take my file at an angle and kind of work that part back just a little bit as well. Looking good. I have a little bit of a bump and a wobble there. So I'm going to go in like that. There we go. Awesome. Now I have this little section right over here to take off. And I think I can work that by hand. Yeah. Taking off that edge just to make it match this same edge over here. Awesome. Awesome. So now I'm gonna go back over the entire surface with 220 to make sure that the primer is sanded down before the next coat and all my little patches are in there, and then I'll work this a little bit more. But that's the process. That's how you do it. That's how I'm doing it, at least. There's probably lots of ways to do it, but John and I decided to do it this way. I still am gonna set one more nail right about here, just going straight in to give it a little bit more support there, because we don't have room on the back to really give it a little structure. It doesn't move at all. It's in really good position, but I'd like to give it just one more for the sake of extra. Okay, next day. It's been several days for us in this video. Some things take a long time. But we have just finished taking down the finish on these boards, which you may not even recognize. If I pan over here, you might remember that's what they used to look like, because these are the boards from inside the rat-soaked pantry closet. So we're gonna be able to reuse these. We have exactly enough to make the inside shelves for the cabinet that John is reworking for between the windows using the tongue and groove boards that he's been organizing and doing things with. And I realized that I've mentioned several times that we're using a citrus-based paint remover throughout the video, but I don't think I ever showed it. So in case you're curious, this is the brand we ended up getting locally. I had orange kind before that I've used, but we couldn't find it, and this seems to be the same type thing. So very nice smell, non-toxic, gentle, but does the trick. So it's working for us on this pretty gunky surface. So we're getting that done. John's actually on the sanding stage for these boards, and he set that up outside because I have been priming and painting in here. I started the paint. There's the color. This is the first coat. Has a nice sheen to it. I'm very excited about that. I have one more coat to go on that. The base of the dresser is out front. I'm also working on the island dresser. I put the tongue and groove back, it's beadboard on the back. I actually used new pieces for this because we wanted to preserve all the pieces we had for the cabinetry that John is making. So that's what's going on right here. I have a little bit more finishing to do to sink all my nails and patch and prime on this. So that's what that's looking like. And then I have the bottom to the hutch up here. See the nice sheen on that? It's very cool. And you can see my patch that you last saw me working on. It is looking wonderful. like you would never know it was patched. You can see the first coat of paint. I got the little curve in there with no problems. So it was pretty effective under there. There's my little glue line under there. But as far as everything goes, it's very solid and looking good. So I'm going to continue priming and painting and doing all these things, watching paint dry. John is going to be out here sanding away in the shade so the dust goes outside. And we're going to keep on keeping on. This is the end of this video for you guys, but it's a cliffhanger. We're going to catch you back up almost right here next week. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's update. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. If you did, like it and share it with your friends and subscribe if you haven't already. And we will be prepared to catch you back here next Thursday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern, same time, same place here at the Up North House.